This is a timeline of the major events that happened in the Bible. Around 4000 BC, Adam and Eve were created. Although the Bible does not specifically say so, some people also believe that the earth was created around this time. In 2344 BC, Noah went into the ark and the world was destroyed by the flood. 2166 BC, God called Abram and told him that he would be the father of a multitude. In 1873 BC, Jacob was born. His 12 sons became known as the patriarchs. They were the fathers of the 12 tribes of Jews. In 1526 BC, Moses was born in Egypt. In 1446, Moses led Israel out of Egypt. In 1406 BC, Israel entered into the Promised Land. In 1383 BC, Joshua, the guy who took over for Moses, died. After that, for almost 400 years, the Jews had what they called judges. They were a loose federation of tribes, and certain people came to the fore at different times to save Israel from their enemies. In 1052 BC, Israel's first king was chosen by God by the name of Saul. In 1011 BC, King David replaced Saul. In 959 BC, Solomon, David's son, completed the first temple. By 931 BC, Solomon had died. His son took over, but he was so unreasonable that 10 of the tribes left and became Israel. Between 875 BC and 686 BC, three of the most famous prophets had their ministries in Israel and in Judah: Elijah and Elisha in Israel and Isaiah in Judah. Their commission was to convince Israel to stop worshiping foreign gods. Essentially, they were worshiping Satan. Because of this apostasy, in 722 BC, the northern kingdom fell and were conquered by Assyria. In 586 BC, the southern kingdom of Judah fell to Babylon. Between 538 and 445 BC, some of the Jews returned to Jerusalem from exile and started to build the second temple. They finished sometime around the year 515 BC. Between this time and the time of John the Baptist's ministry, right around the same time that Jesus had his ministry, there were no prophets in Israel. God had stopped speaking to them because they had essentially become apostate. The Pharisees had created a new religion based on ritual and not on an actual relationship with God. Somewhere around 4 to 5 BC, Jesus was born. Between 26 and 30 AD, Jesus had his 3-year ministry, which ended in his sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection. In AD 34, Paul, the guy who wrote most of the New Testament, was converted. During this time, many Jews, as well as other people in the region, became Christians. Around 70 AD, this is 40 years after Jesus' death and resurrection, the Jews decided to rebel against Rome, and Rome destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. 40 is often the number used for judgment and destruction in the Bible. In AD 95, John the Apostle wrote the book of Revelations. That was the last book accepted into the Bible.